Voices from the Mausoleum is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network and yourunpodcast.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to episode Found Footage Fridays.
Hello, and welcome.
We made it through all of the Paranormal Activity movies.
Yay. It wasn't that much of a slog. It was good.
Yeah. No, it wasn't too bad. Some of it, well, thankfully I didn't have to rewatch any of them because I just rewatched them all. But yeah, it needed to be done for Found Footage Fridays. So,
of course. So now we don't have to do it again for a while.
Yeah, so we get a new one, hopefully, maybe. Yeah, so now we're on to some newer found footage. And so today we will be talking about the 2024 found footage film Frogman.
Ribbit, I love it.
It's like I know there's a couple of other cryptid, like found footage movies. Like obviously there's Bigfoot ones, but like this wasn't one I was just expecting to see done in found footage. It kind of threw me when I saw everybody talking about it. I was like, this is found footage? Because I didn't realize it was at first. I thought it was.
Yeah, or is the Frogman a cryptid that people talk about? Is this actually a thing or not? Not really.
No, it is a thing. Frogman's a real cryptid. I'm pretty sure.
I had never heard of it, so that's news to me.
I think the thing. Cool. No, I think it is either that or the movie just worked so well. It seemed like it. I don't know. I thought it was.
Well, given that the director, right, is nope, I'm thinking of a different director. Sorry, I don't think the director did any other cryptid movies.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I hope that they do more. I will say that. So the short synopsis of this is just Loveland, Ohio is the home of the Frogman. In the summer of 1999, a 12-year-old named Dallas Kyle captured footage of the mythical creature, but no one believed that it was real. And yeah, so I went into this, I'm gonna be honest with you. I went into this with really, really low expectations. Because I've really been struggling to find good found footage that I haven't seen already. And so, but like we rented this, right? This was when we rented. And I went into it with really low expectations. And those expectations made sense until about the halfway mark. And then I was like, okay, then Frogman. Like, then it really, I feel like, showed what it was going to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it took a second to find its like ground, but
yes.
Yeah, but it got there.
Yes, it did. And I think that man, I do think it's super slow, but I think that the typical formula for found footage movies is slower to start and then it's like the end is just bananas. And that's pretty much how this is. It's slow. Not quite 2/3 of it, but a little over half, just a little bit, and then it's just nuts until it ends.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like the characters that it sets up, though. I like Dallas, and I sort of like the beginning when he's a kid, right? It's sort of like that's as a startup, and then the way that they introduce him as an adult and the YouTuber, whoever that's talking about him. I thought it was some good transitioning, some good like exposition in the beginning. Then it was a little bit slow, but this film had a sort of a cheeky thing about it that I enjoyed.
Yeah, so I think it's supposed to be like there's supposed to be like, I don't know. It's labeled as horror. It's not actually like officially called comedy horror, but I've seen several people label it that way. We were talking about this the other day. Like people are like, oh yeah, this is like such good comedy horror. And I feel so dumb because I did not think it was comedic like that. Like I definitely thought there were some moments. But I guess I just didn't, I don't know. Maybe it's because when I would think of like Frogman being comedic, I would think in a silly way. And I don't really feel this was that silly. I mean,
more satirical, I think, than anything. I think it's, there's comedy and then there's like satire, which is very dry humor.
And that's what this is, you think?
Yeah, I feel like it was more satirical. I mean, like there's like some funny stuff, I think, with the friends, right? With Scotty. And is it Natalie? Is the friend? I'm looking at the IMDb.
I don't remember any of their names.
Or Amy. I don't know. The one that was like, I'm gonna be a Southern character.
Yeah, the people from the South love seeing that shit in movies. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, taking place in this took place in the 90s, right? No, this was modern.
No,
The
it was
flashback was the 90s.
Yeah, 99 when he caught it on camera the first time.
Yes. And then when they're older. But yeah, no, I mean, like, the relationship was fun, right? And I think a lot of the humor was just sort of in the dialogue versus it being like slapstick. It wasn't like hardy har har.
Sure. I can see that. Then in that case, I would I have to agree because I did think there were some moments that got me like that I thought were pretty funny. I really struggle with Southern stuff like that, though. That's actually one of my biggest complaints about Silence at the Lambs with Jodie Foster.
But she was actually trying to be Southern. This girl was sort of making a caricature.
I know, but it felt like a caricature when Jodie Foster did it. I hated it so much. We don't all sound like that, just for clarity purposes. Yeah,
was it the accent that she was trying to do, or was it the fact that she was trying to be like this, like, cowgirl kind of giddy up kind of?
It was like all of it. I felt like Dallas felt. I was like, can you just shut up and take shit more seriously? But I think just to kind of like comment on the like relationships themselves, I do think that it was helpful to really understand just kind of where Dallas was mentally, because like it says in the description, like nobody believes him. And so also pairing in with this interesting dynamic of the friendships, like it really does paint like a very specific picture, which I think plays into decisions he makes later in the film that otherwise may not make as much sense. You know what I mean? So I think that was good.
And I mean, Dallas is very much that kind of person that we all know or felt like we were, is like the failure to take off, right? The like, you have your career ahead of you, and this girlfriend or not girlfriend, but this like sort of potential love interest is moving away, doing her career thing. His other friend seems a little more successful than him, so he just sort of feels like a failure. And then sort of this whole Frogman thing being like the analogy for that, right? This sort of thing that's kept him rooted in his childhood, and he hasn't
able to
really
move on
past that and grow up. And
no, I agree with that. I thought all of that was really well done. And I think, performance wise, I didn't have a hard time believing anyone. I believed everyone in this film. And honestly, even the over the top YouTuber, because that's just how some of them really are. You know what I mean? Like even that felt realistic to me. Which has been something I have really struggled with in found footage movies lately, is like believing in the performances, because I mean, it's so important in a lower budget film to really make it believable with the people that are in it. And, but I believed these people. The performances themselves were super solid in my opinion.
Yeah. Performing in a found footage film there's a very different ask versus performing in just like a straightforward narrative, right? Because you're pretending, it's all acting, but the POV, the camera, is sort of an active participant in that. So it just adds an extra layer to the performance that is so hard to nail sometimes.
Yeah. And I think that this one did that really well though, because I genuinely like, even one of my favorite found footage movies, I have a problem with one of the actors, and it can be so, what's the word? It takes you out of it sometimes, because you're just like, oh, okay, I can't get past this, but I thought they all did a really, really, really good job. Even some of the people that didn't have like major parts, just had like short parts, or, I felt like even they did a really good job of convincing me of whatever it is, that they're supposed to convince me of. So.
The world felt pretty lived in, like when they go to Loveland, to, do their documentary and find Frogman. Just the people that they found to interview. It just felt like a pretty lived in world. And there was like one guy who was really into it that kept like finding them to talk to them about it.
Which, I mean, cryptid circles, that happens too,
Yeah. I think within that, you also see some of the comedy too, which is fun.
I did laugh when he showed back up out of nowhere. I did think that was funny.
Yeah, he was like, I got more to say about Frogman.
He's like, by the way.
Like, just don't talk to him.
Yeah.
Leave him alone. Yeah. But yeah, before we get to spoilers too, I'm just like another non-spoiler point is I think some of the special effects were pretty. Some like the makeup was really good.
It's practical, right?
I think there's a lot of practical stuff. I think when we do see Frogman, I think that's all practical.
And it looked good.
Yeah, like Frogman himself looks great.
Yeah.
Save for some other stuff that happens. I think that might have been just a couple of little digital stuff there, but I think it's all practical based.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I think all of that looked really good. That was a really big high for me, actually, because I mean, it doesn't matter what else you do. If the focal point of your film doesn't look great, it can really bring down the experience overall. But no, I agree. I think he looked great. I thought he looked, the brief clips we get of him in the beginning, or the brief clip rather, that we start the film with, I thought was kind of like a little obscured. So you're kind of like, okay, if we see him later, it's either going to be really good or really bad. So we'll just see. But I thought he looked really good. The practical and even the stuff that they had to edit, I don't know. I thought it all looked really, really good. I was impressed.
Yeah. And I think because we do get an obscured version of him in the beginning, like when he's a kid, right? Just sort of the beginning stuff. And I think it looked a little different. Like he looked smaller, right? So I think Frogman aged as well.
He got bigger.
Yeah. It looked like a young Frogman in the 90s.
Could be, yeah.
The college years.
Yeah. No, it could be because he looked he did look a little bit smaller and not as more, I think maybe more narrow.
Yeah. Well, we got
not
to see
just
more
smaller like this, but like this too. Like
because from a kid, it was like he was a kid with the camera at that point, right? And it looked like he was just like from above looking at him, so it almost looked like he was like little. It was such a quick shot. But it almost looked like the kid was above him, whereas then we see a little bit more of him and towards the end, and he's looks a bit bigger.
Where do you rate this?
I give it like a solid 8. I really it was a pleasant surprise. Like I think at the beginning, right, it was a little bit. I was in with the flashback, then I found myself sort of like waning out as they were getting the setup going, and then as the characters really were starting to like the dynamics were becoming more well defined, and then the action started ramping up. I really it took me in. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a nice 8.
Yeah, I am also going to give it an 8. I feel pretty much the exact same way that you do. I feel like I was really into the beginning. I was like, okay. And then there's some middle parts where I was kind of like, all right, we got to find something soon because I'm starting to look at my phone too much, like that kind of thing. And then it really amped up and it had me the rest of the film. And everything else that we've said positive about it, I really, really liked it. I did not expect to. I genuinely thought I was coming out of this with like a 2, like I just did. And it's just because there are so many found footage movies that sound really great in concept, that seem like they're going to be really good. And then you get through them and you're like, ugh, And so I was so worried this was going to be one of them. And it was not. I agree with you. It was a complete surprise to me. Did not expect to like it as much. This is one I would revisit. If it's ever streaming, I probably wouldn't pay for it again, but that's just because I'm stingy with money. But
I'm sure it'll probably go to like Tubi or something. Right?
Yeah. And when it does, I will absolutely revisit because I feel like you get more. I think you could get more out of this on a second watch too.
I think they're going to do more too. Yeah. I would love to see another one. Because for anyone who hasn't seen it yet, there is a sort of mid-credit scene kind of moment, right? There's like a couple of words come up, and then I think it cuts again. There's like a little scene. Did you stick around for the full?
In the middle of it?
In the mid-credits scene, I think there's a mid-credits scene, or it's either like the very last scene, and then credits roll, and then another scene happens.
When we get to spoilers, tell me what it is, and I'll tell you if I remember seeing it or not. Because I may not have.
You might have just, with the credits. As soon as the credits rolled, you stopped.
That's about what I do with most movies. Although some of them I do sit through just in case. But usually,
I'm pretty sure it was a mid-credit scene and not just part of the movie.
Oh shoot! Well, then I might have missed that. Well, yeah, you'll tell when we get to spoilers in just a second. You can tell me.
But there's a little cliffhanger at the end where I'm like, oh, they could do something else if they really wanted to.
I also am just hoping this person does other cryptid stuff because I think they had the attention to detail. They had the practical stuff down, in my opinion. And
Two
I
other
think
creature
that,
movies, yeah.
yeah, I think like I would love to see more cryptid stuff in general. I would love to have more than just one good Bigfoot found footage movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and there's so many cryptids to do. But anyway, you ready to jump into spoilers?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
We're gonna put up the
Oh yeah, you normally do that one. I know I said that I was going to click everything, but you normally do that one, so I didn't think about
yeah. Yeah, no, you
it.
there it is.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think a lot of it, I don't have much to say as far as the spoiling of the stuff, but I really loved the like cult of Frogman stuff. I was here
Yeah,
for that.
the Frogman
When
cult
they
was
go
fun.
into they go back, they're like I think this is after they're like, we need to get out of here. And they go back, and then they find the place in the place that they're staying, and they end up, down into and that room is just like full of people. And I loved that so much. Like, I was just like, this is crazy. I love it. Like, it was so wild.
And they hint at it too, right? Because there's that one guy that's like, he's been known to take a maiden or take a,
Yeah.
and like they have children, which is what I think there's so I think there's multiple frogmen, right? Because
Yep.
because Scotty starts to get all amphibious, right? And then like, and again, they clearly Frogman had aged, right? Because Frogman looked very small from the 99 flashback scene.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Frogman was up and walking around.
They
So I don't know.
changed with the stuff from his tongue, though, right? Like, it's like like they get infected almost,
They get
right?
infected, but then what happens, right? Because we don't really.
I don't know, because I don't know. So I guess like the way I interpreted it was that when they're infected, they're like, they just become like little minions, like weird hybrid things that are infected. And then the only way to be like another frogman would be the rapey stuff with the women and the having babies, right? But I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's both. Maybe it requires. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, but it'd be cool either way. That's why I think they could definitely do more. And obviously, there's magic stuff involved. I mean, I think where it's a little silly is like, I love that he has a wand and like Frog Wizard. It's very funny. I actually follow, and I don't know if this is an actual cryptid thingy, because I follow a TikTok called Wizard Frog. And it's just a little frog puppet, and he makes potions, and it's like sort of ASMR.
Yeah,
it's very funny. I'll send it to you. But that made me think of Wizard Frog. So I'm like, is that a thing? Are wizard frogs like a lore thing or something in fantasy, or I don't know. But he's got a little wand so that was obviously a special effect, was the sparkling effect and all that.
Oh, yes. But
that was the only CGI I alluded to. Everything else was practical.
Everything else is and it like good. Like, he looks good.
Yeah.
And this probably sounds like, I don't know, like when you try to picture like in your head without any like point of reference, any material to look at, when you think Frogman, I do think silly, but they were able to make him look in a way that I don't think I necessarily found silly. It just kind of made sense. Like, when I saw him, I was kind of like, yeah, that's probably what he looks like,
Yeah, I was like, I don't think there's a frog species in Dungeons and Dragons. Like, we have like cat people and other kinds of like humanoid things, but yeah, just sort of like what is, I think of the frog from WB.
Oh my god! Frog, hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
Yeah.
That one.
The top hat. Yeah.
He even has it's a cane, I guess, but it could be a wand.
Yeah.
That's the origin. That's the origin of Frogman.
Oh, well, that was when he went to Hollywood,
That's when he went to Hollywood. And then he got mad, and now he's killing it, and then now he's taking everybody's daughters.
He got fired. I mean, WB don't use them anymore. WB don't exist. It was when it became the CW, they got rid of him. So that's when
Frogman out of work. We would love to see that in your next movie.
Yes. The real like flashback.
Oh my god.
But so funny. But the post-credit scene. Did you see the movie theater bit?
No.
Okay, you didn't. There was a post-credit scene.
I wonder if I could Google it, because I don't want to rent it again just for that. Oh,
Just for this one scene, I
just
know.
for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was a bit. It took place. So it was Dallas afterwards, and he was premiering Frogman at a festival.
Oh, okay.
And there's a little bit at the end. I don't know if you want me to tell you.
Well, I don't know when I'm going to see it.
Okay, so you want me to say it? Okay, so it cuts. So they screen Frogman, and then so the screening is over. So the guy who's running the screening is like, and now the director of the film, Dallas, whatever, and he's not coming. They're like, Dallas, where are you? And they cut to Dallas, sort of at the back, and he's just sort of like a little catatonic, just sort of sitting there. And then in his hand is the wizard frog's, the Frogman's wand.
Oh yeah, I completely missed that.
Yeah, he has the wand by the end of the movie. So now I'm like, okay, so Dallas has the wand. So what is he going to do? Is he sort of going to just enable the cult, or is he sort of, now he has his key to fame, right? Because he was sort of a failing director. I mean, they could do more. They could just leave it at that. It's fine too. But kind of him creating the thing that makes him famous is this Frogman thing, you know. So maybe he gives him more power. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
there's a lot of things they could do with that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. It cuts the because I don't think it really, because it cuts the found footage thing. Like it sort of is very much a movie at that point.
I gotcha. Instead of the found footage shot. I gotcha.
Yeah.
My cat's having an asthma attack. Sorry.
Aww.
He's okay. Not an asthma attack, but he has asthma. And so he just struggles until he's done, and then he's fine. But I'm going to have to kick you off, though, because you're making too much noise, buddy. We've been gone for 2 days, so he's like, I need attention.
Yeah. He's like, oh, my love.
Yeah. No, I definitely missed that. Yeah, I would like to see an extension of that, especially like, you know, what if there's like, we've been pushing for cult stuff a lot lately, like cult Michael Myers, cult Ghostface, you know, cult. I just want more crazy stuff like that.
Cult of Frogman. I love it.
So yeah, so like that's what I was gonna say. If that's the case, then maybe when they do another one, having it spread to other cities besides Loveland, like now that there's,
that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? And then because he's the documentarian that knows all about it, it's sort of like he could create the problem that he then has to investigate, and then it sort of becomes this, like, you know, seduction of fame.
Yeah, no, I like that. No, I didn't see that. I guess because I don't expect those kind of movies to have post-credit.
You wouldn't, right? I mean, but now I feel like after Marvel, you just have to assume every movie's going to have something.
Yeah, that's kind of fair, I guess.
No,
but yeah, no,
I do now. Not a lot of non-Marvel stuff does.
That's true. Well, I'm usually so late to stuff. Usually someone has posted about it, so I know to wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with this one, I didn't see anything about it specifically, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know about
I think all movie theaters should, like, unless you're going, like, if you go to a Marvel movie, obviously, no, you're going to get one. But like, if you're going to a movie that you wouldn't expect it, there should be a little thing on your ticket, or like a little sign outside the theater that says there's a credit scene at point.
Right? Yeah. Because when my best friend and I went and saw X, everyone left and missed the end scene.
Yeah.
We were like the only people left, and I was like, oh no.
Like, yeah, there's something.
You know? Yeah.
Or at least the people that come in and clean, they should be like, wait, there's a post-credit scene, and so you don't miss it. Not that it's their job to do that, but it would be a nice courteous thing.
Yeah, because otherwise, like you said, I mean, if people aren't expecting it, they're just going to leave. If it's not a movie that it makes sense.
There used to be a website or an app. I forget. I think it was just a website called Run P. You ever see that? You know that one? So Run P would tell you when you can go for a bathroom break. So it would say, like, there was someone who had seen the movie would be like, so there's a point in the movie here where this scene is pretty slow and it just sort of repeats stuff. So you don't need to see it. So now's when you can go, like, at like 10 minutes, or say it'd be like 27 minutes in or 47 minutes in. Be like, okay, you can skip that part. Or it would tell you if there was something at the end.
I see. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
that'd
a
be
cool
good.
idea. I don't know if they still do
Because
it.
this is not one I like. Sometimes if I just happen to get up and I just let it run and I'm doing something like in the kitchen or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
then I'll hear it and I'll get to catch something like, but that so rarely happens. Usually it's just music. So I think I just
Yeah.
turned it off and went to watch something else.
I'm surprised. I mean, just as far, I mean, Paranormal Activity, I'm surprised they never picked up a post-credit kind of scene thing. Because for as big as it had gotten, and it was around. I mean, Marvel was around at that
Sure.
point. You know, I'm surprised they never. Not that everything needs a post-credit scene.
Sure.
I'm just
No.
surprised they didn't hop on the train.
It's a nice little surprise though. Like I had questions at the end of Saw X and I was like, oh, we didn't get this one specific thing I was looking for. And oh, what happened to this other thing? And then the scene came up and I was like, there's both of my answers. But it was just sheer luck. Melinda and I just happened to be sitting there talking. We were just waiting on the movie to, we were just hanging out for a second. And but everybody else left. We were the only ones left in there. We were the only ones that got to see it. So you never know. Just goes to show you.
No, at the very least, I will fast forward all the, like if I'm watching a movie, I will at this point now, rather than just sort of sitting waiting, I will kind of just fast forward a little bit through the credits and just kind of, scrub through it.
Yeah. But I really liked Frogman. I would definitely recommend watching it. It was worth paying to see for sure.
Yeah, I had a little crush on Scotty. I think he was gay. I think they alluded to that he was gay.
I was very surprised if he was not. Yes.
Yeah, he was pretty gay. Him and his little bathrobe jumping around.
Bathrobe, yeah.
Little kimono bathrobe or whatever. Yeah, it was fun. But no. Pleasant surprise. I can't think of anything else to say about it. I think everyone should check it out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I really liked it too. I think that worth paying to see for sure.
Cool. Very cool.
What next week we are talking about the found footage movie Life of Belle, which is streaming.
I got a lot to say about that one.
Yes, which is streaming on Tubi. So you can go watch it before our episode next week, just so you can join in the chat by putting lots of comments about your thoughts on all of the things that we talk about. It doesn't have to be Life of Belle, it could be anything, but yeah, so we'll be talking Life of Belle next week. And then let's look at the docket and see what else we want to jump into. But yeah, that's all we have for this episode of Found Footage Fridays. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Enjoy your weekend coming up. Have a great week, and we will see you next week. Bye.